You're listening to Ecto Portal, a journey into the unknown with Anthony Anderson and Verna Wilson.
I hope that you are seated comfortably, with the light turned down and the curtains drawn.
Somebody there?
Hello, once again, to another journey into the unexplored, the unexplained Ecto Portal. I'm Anthony Anderson, your host, and I'm here with...
Verna Wilson. Hi, everybody.
She's the co-host, of course. Maybe lately you guys have been on TikTok. TikTok.
TikTok.
All right, let me stop.
No, keep it. This is funny.
I sound like an idiot. Now I know when you're like,
maybe everybody's been tacky. I'm just kidding.
All right, TikTok is a whole new platform that I'm starting, because if they want to take away TikTok, I think we should start TikTok.
TikTok.
And then we'll be sued by TikTok.
TikTok's a candy.
Exactly, so we'll be sued. Anyway, what I meant to say, folks, was, and I'll leave that in just for Verna. I'm humble.
No, it's just funny.
If you've been on TikTok, Ecto Portal has a TikTok channel. I do daily ghost stories from all around the world, and they're short little 3-minute bits, but I tell you ghost stories of specific spots.
He finds out all kinds of really cool stuff everywhere.
Just, you never know what your city, your town, your country I may be showing a story from next. But it's a little way to keep connected, and it's in between our podcasts.
And it's a good way to learn about where you're from.
Exactly. So, and we do, once in a while, me and Verna do short little 10-minute episodes on TikTok. It's kind of like our podcast, but it's just sort of a short video version of a separate episode by itself.
You can call them little Ecto Portal spoofs.
Yep. Journeys into the portal.
Yeah, definitely into the portal.
Little journeys. Okay, so make sure you check out our podcast. Like I said, ectoportal.com, ectoportal.podbean.com, and we store all of our archives on YouTube, which we have a pretty good following.
Everything's on
YouTube.
YouTube.
So if you look up Ecto,
5 years worth.
Yep. If you look up Ecto Portal on YouTube, you're going to find our channel. I'm putting up a lot of the really old stuff. It's going to take me a while, but all the new stuff's on there, like the last 2-3 years. But the stuff going way back 5 years, I'm working on getting all that up there.
So it was a lot of work, folks.
It is, but it's
a lot
all
of work
there.
and research and a lot of fun.
Yep, and my goal is to make sure all of our stuff is available so that people can go and listen to, 5-6 years worth of podcasts weekly at their whim, at their leisure, because we cover a lot of topics.
And learn some new stuff.
Exactly. We love history, but we love the paranormal. We love the unknown, mysterious, things we can't always explain. We love
and
to
subjects
talk about.
that aren't normally covered and that people don't even think about, but it's a subject that's came up, and we felt it was interesting enough to cover.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just to give our take sometimes on stuff that we find. So.
Yep.
Okay, Verna, what's this week's episode?
This one's going to be about Don Decker, who was serving time for robbery in Pennsylvania.
Uh-oh.
And this was back in the 1980s, and everybody said that he was possessed and he could make it rain wherever he went.
I already have so many questions, but we'll save it for the episode.
We'll save it for the episode.
Sounds interesting, though. Pennsylvania in the 1980s, so it isn't like another century. It's like pretty recent, really.
No, this was pretty recent, and Don Decker is still around. He's still alive, so
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. What do you say we get to the paranormal news?
Let's get to the news.
All right. And welcome back to another episode of the paranormal news. What have you got this week for us, Verna?
Well, it's about somebody who said that they woke up in an alternate reality, and they even spent 5 days aboard a ghost ship all by himself. Just by himself.
Wow.
Yeah. So this guy's name is Kilmaru. I believe that's his name. And he said that he woke up in an alternate universe where he was the only person on Earth. And he said that that everything looked really normal, and it was cities, supermarkets, everything, but he was the only person around. Nobody was there.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. So anyway, he said that he posted his first video of TikTok of his situation.
Not Tic Tac?
Not Tic Tac, TikTok, yeah.
Oh, okay,
and
the original.
he filmed it from his hotel room after a long nap, and he said the streets are empty as he gets out of the window, and he said he was very scared because there's empty streets, and he goes inside restaurants, supermarkets, even a McDonald's, and
wow.
He said there's no one around, even though everything looks normal, and he said that nobody replies to his messages or picks up the phone, and he's really scared. And he says since that first clip, he's posted hundreds of videos with the exact same results with no people around. So the comments that he does get are always flooded with people debating what's going on and trying to figure out where on Earth, he is. And he said he's in an alternate reality. So, and he also claims that he spent 5 days aboard a ghost ship. He woke up aboard a ghost ship all by himself.
Yeah.
And he said that there was footage that he actually filmed it, and there were footage showing abandoned rooms, empty and molding swimming pools, and just like this abandoned ship, and he was all by himself. Which that would be actually
I'll wait till you're done. I have so many
that
questions.
would actually be really terrifying.
Yeah.
So anyway, and they said that despite the hundreds of videos of the alternate reality that he lives in, they said that the situation doesn't seem very realistic to a lot of people. So,
well, let's start with the obvious. He's putting the videos on TikTok, so that means if it's some kind of alternate reality, TikTok still exists.
Yeah.
And somehow he miraculously has TikTok. There's other people who make videos on TikTok. And there's cell phone service to get on TikTok.
Yeah.
But yet he can't find another human being.
Well, he said when he films them, he can't. But he comes back to this reality and he puts them all on TikTok.
Oh, so he's going back and forth?
Yeah, that's what he claims.
But he doesn't say how he's doing it.
Right.
This is even more amazing than the time travel shed. What do you...
I don't know how he does it either. The only thing I could explain, and I'm not trying to dispute what this guy's saying, but if you go into a market or a restaurant really early in the morning, before people are up, of course you're going to find empty stalls.
Good time of day to go do your videos because nobody's around.
Nobody's around.
Or pick places nobody's there and do your video.
That has to be really early, and I sure hope he has a lot of coffee.
Yeah, this whole particular story. Bullshit. I'm sorry.
You startled me for a second. Jeez.
Horseshit. Sorry, I sneezed again.
I know exactly what you were saying with the word horse, and the other word is doo-doo.
Yeah.
Right?
I think this is just, I think it's part of a trend. There's a lot of time travelers on TikTok. Did you ever notice that?
No, I haven't. I haven't been on it enough.
Oh, see, I like I said, I'm pumping our channel up, but I'm reading other people's stuff that kind of ties in with what we do. There's a lot of time travelers on TikTok.
And don't think I'm bad for not doing that. I've seen time travelers on other places, but not on TikTok.
But here's a question for you.
Yeah.
If you're a time traveler from the future, why would you pick TikTok if TikTok is going to go away?
Well, and they would know it's going to go away.
That's what I'm saying.
Now,
maybe they know something we don't. Maybe it's not going to go away.
Well, here's my question. If you're really a time traveler, can you let us know how you did it?
Well, that's just it. They never do.
Why?
They're always they always use that mystery card. We've seen this before. We're like, I can't really show you too much detail on this video image of where I am because I'll get in trouble and someone will come out and take me down. Do you remember we've seen stuff like this before? Mm-hmm. To me, that just says I don't want to show you too much because then you'll realize I'm full of
horse doo-doo.
Yeah, horse doo-doo.
Okay, now we had a time traveler on our show, but this was an accidental time traveler. When it's accidental, I can understand it. And she's a she's a neat lady.
Yeah.
She really is.
Yeah.
And I liked her story, and that's why we wanted her on there.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an accidental time traveler and you can't explain it, that I can understand. But if you're doing it on purpose and you bother to post it, please tell us how you did it.
See, I would really, if I was going to fake it and do something on TikTok, I would really map out every move, every image, every clip, and every explanation for the clip before I did it.
And how about putting a video of where you were before you traveled?
Like Verna has a time travel fridge, folks. You could just climb in Verna's fridge, and you're going to end up in Victorian San Francisco if you come back out.
That's right. And no, I'm not inviting you to come to my refrigerator.
No,
it's too darn cold.
What's
anyway.
really amazing though is when you go into her refrigerator to go back in Victorian San Francisco, when you come out, you're dressed in Victorian attire. It actually dresses you.
And if you send me invitations, I'm not inviting you.
No, but she might put it on eBay if she gets a new fridge.
Oh, sure I will.
Time travel Victorian fridge. I like it.
It sounds like fun, actually. But
yep, it does. See, there you go. That was how easy it is to create a time traveling story.
It's very
Verna.
easy.
So
and I could create the fact that I have a time traveling cat, and everybody wants to come see the cat.
So next time she puts her hand in the fridge to pull out, a Coke, she pulls out some sardines from Victorian era.
Shoot, I'm into vintage recipes. I wouldn't mind getting a dessert or something from Victorian times if it's fresh.
I was going to say, make sure it's fresh.
You don't want
fresh. Spoiled food from the Victorian era.
Ew.
Gross. All right, that's an interesting story.
Yeah,
very topical.
We went from filming time traveling videos to rotten food.
To rotten Victorian food. In your fridge.
And in my fridge.
Yeah.
It always ends up in my place.
Of course. Well,
everything always ends up where I am.
You're so egotistical. Always talking about yourself.
That's right. It's all about me, folks. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I have a story.
Oh, well, let's get off me now.
So this one takes place in El Salvador. It's a little piece of security footage that shows a little tiny figure walking through a farm animal yard and then vanishes into thin air. It was captured in March in the town of Chalatenango and went viral on social media in Latin America after it came online this last week. The video, which we've just watched just a few minutes ago, and it's actually on our Ecto Portal Facebook page as well. As a little figure walks out of nowhere and walks in front of an animal that is resting on the ground. The little creature simply disappears as the two creatures in the footage carry on unaware that it even visited them. Since it was posted, the footage has been sparked all kinds of theories as to what the small figure could have been. My theory, if you watch it, is it's either a small little being or it's the bottom half of somebody just walking by.
Or it's some kid wandering in the middle of the night and the light happened to capture him.
But that kid was really small. If you think
He's a real
it.
Small kid.
As theories have been that it could have been. Some suggest that it's a humanoid or an alien or a little supernatural entity such as a goblin.
An elemental.
Yep. Another theory is that people in the community that the figure is a ghost child. That's something of a local urban legend. That's interesting.
That would actually be plausible because
Yeah.
we've seen ghosts of children before.
Yes, we have. Skeptical observers post the video as merely a fantastic fake, that manage to fool people online. I mean, it could have been a little Photoshop job. I've seen that happen. People do that
And
too.
if somebody's photoshopping it, come on.
But
folks.
it looks really organic to the
It doesn't
video
look
footage.
Photoshop.
You know,
No.
it doesn't look like it's better than the footage that it's in.
No.
It looks like it is part of the footage.
I hope it's not a child that died, because that would be really sad. But you know, it's happened before.
Children die.
Children die, unfortunately.
Children die.
Yeah.
Just be glad they're not in your Victorian fridge, or that would be even more frightening.
That would be depressing. But what's interesting about this video is that this child is walking and oblivious to the animal, practically almost stepping on it.
Yeah.
And the animal doesn't seem to give a darn. And he just walks his merry way. The animals are still resting.
Yep.
And he disappears really fast.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Wherever this creature's going, it knows where it's going because it doesn't.
He
slow
knows
down.
where it's going, and he's gone in a second.
Yeah. Check it out, folks, on our Ecto
Yeah.
Portal Facebook page. You can actually see the video footage that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, folks, that's the paranormal news. We'll be right back. All right, that was the paranormal news. Now, you have an interesting story for us. You introduced it in the beginning of the episode, but I'm fascinated to hear what this story was actually about.
Well, this story actually happened back in 1983. A man named Don Decker, who was serving a prison sentence in Pennsylvania it was back in 1983, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
He was in jail for for robbery or something like that, when he received the news that his grandfather, his name was James Kishaw, he was dying, and I think he was dying or he died, and he was supposed to go to the funeral. And he didn't have a good relationship with him. He was actually abused by his grandfather.
Ooh.
But he was released on what they call compassionate leave to attend his grandfather's funeral.
Sounds like it was an option for him. Let me get out of jail for a little while and just pretend like I liked him.
Right. And, I guess he didn't do a violent crime, which is why he was released for compassionate leave.
Yeah.
But after attending the funeral, he stayed at a family friend's house, and he went to the washroom, where he said that he felt a weird coldness around him. And when he looked, he saw a face outside the bathroom window with a crown on his head who was actually laughing at him. And he also claimed that he saw some deep claw marks on his forearm. And when he came into the living room, his friends, they thought that something weird was going on with the wall, that it was leaking. But when they went ahead and they looked, they realized that there was water running upwards from the wall. So
how bizarre.
And he was and Mr. Decker was looking up in the air, kind of in a trance, not really responding to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And his friends were weirded out by the whole thing. They decided to go ahead and call the police. So the police came, and they were also stunned by the whole thing. They actually came, and they saw water running upwards up the wall and across the room from wall to wall. The police
And this is in the house of his
family friends. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And so so it was multiple police and his friends who witnessed what happened. And later he went to a restaurant after the house incident, and it started raining in the restaurant too.
Yeah.
So the owner of the restaurant was convinced that something was wrong with him, and he called a church for exorcism. He was convinced that the guy was possessed. So when a crucifix was brought near him, he felt a burning sensation all over his body.
It burns.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's a good one. So he went back. So
keep it away.
Finally, his time came to go back to jail. He went back to jail, and the guard there thought there was something weird about him. Something changed in his personality.
Yeah.
He had kind of a misdemeanor that made the inmates around him a little spooked. Something about his personality made the inmates scared of him. So a priest was actually called to the jail, and as soon as he started reading the Bible, the room started getting wet except for the Bible. And after that, Don Decker never experienced a wet, rainy incident ever again. So that was the end of it.
Was he released from prison?
He was, and actually there's an update. He actually had he was actually in trouble for arson, and he turned himself in 2012.
Wait, I thought he was in jail. What do you mean he turned himself in after he got out of jail?
Well, he got out of jail and he was fined for a long time.
Yeah.
But back in 2012, he actually got in trouble for arson and turned himself back.
Oh,
turned
okay,
himself
okay.
in.
So he committed another crime. And
he
turned
committed
himself
another
in.
crime.
So did he go back to jail?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I just heard he turned himself in. I don't know.
Now, I guess what that implies is he didn't get possessed in jail. It's when he got out.
It's when he
on
got outside of
visitation.
jail. But here's my theory. I'm wondering if he picked up something when he was in jail that
Darker force or
a darker
something.
force that followed him around.
But didn't he went off? He went to his grandfather's thing.
His grandfather's funeral, or he could have picked up something at the cemetery.
Now, here's what I'm asking you to clarify.
Okay.
Did all that phenomena with the water happen at his grandfather's house, or that his friend's family's house?
His family friend's house. It didn't
Okay.
happen at the prison. It didn't happen at the funeral. It happened when he got to the house.
Who's to say that wasn't Grandpa connecting himself to him for a while?
You never know, especially if the man was abusive
Yeah, and they
and had a
didn't-
lot of dark energy around him.
They didn't have a great relationship, but maybe he recognized him enough that he stuck to him for a while.
That could very
And
well
then
be.
once he
That's
went to
actually the
jail-
best theory I've heard with this story.
And maybe once he went back to jail after this visitation and this grieving thing, that the grandfather's like, "See ya," and took off.
It could be, especially if the man was abusive. Because let's face it, when you're near people who are toxic or abusive,
Yeah,
they have the energy in the room is usually very depressing.
well, there's a lot of mental. I
There's
would
a lot
honestly
of
say
stuff,
there's
yeah.
mental illness going on when you're
Definitely.
physically abusive to someone. You
Yeah.
have no control or boundaries.
Right.
That you have to physically harm another person. You have mental problems.
Right.
And I think, and we've talked about this before, when you pass over, when you die, your life's essence, your energy, I think this is my theory.
Right.
I think you take some memory with you, but I don't think it's a lot of deep memory. It's not very detailed memory.
Okay.
I think if you encounter something when you've passed on and you see something, it can trigger a memory. You're not sure why it triggers it. You're not sure maybe what the entire memory is,
Sure.
but it's enough to recognize that you recognize it. And I think with this, if you're abusive and you have mental problems and you die, you have anger, frustration, lack of understanding of someone
Absolutely.
else, and I think you'll take some of that with you.
I agree.
So when you get these entities that are, they say they're poltergeists or they're demons or demonic attachments, they could just be frustrated people that were abusers or had mental issues or physical issues when they were alive, and that's just what people are encountering.
And that's not the first time I've heard somebody passing away who was abusive, and suddenly people felt uneasy and some dark energy around them
Yeah.
afterwards, and they had to do something about it because they were carrying that around with them.
Yeah.
So that would actually make more sense than anything I've ever heard about this story.
What makes me sad, though, is think about those people that have really hard lives. They have mental problems. They have stress
Yeah.
and anxieties, and they don't know why they have so much anxiety and stress in their life. What if it was a dead relative that was abusive to them that just latched on and never let go?
That's very sad. And
Because I don't know how you
Because
would
a lot of
detach
peop-
that. I
a
don't
lot
think,
of people feel that once the relative is gone and they were abusive and that there's some kind of relief, but actually no, you carry around that. And if somebody is latching on to you and they have all this and they had this dark energy when they were alive, that's going to be like a double
yeah.
a double.
So it's still around. It's
still
just in a
around.
different way.
It's in a different way. So I think that if you are experiencing a lot of abuse and the person passes away, I think it's a good idea to get not just any grievance counselor, but a grievance counselor that's dealt with abuse issues and that actually would believe you if you feel that it's following you around, and not just the memories, but if you feel a physical presence following you around.
Yeah, I often wonder, because we all know people that seem to always have problems. There's always have emotional problems. There's always some kind of drama in their lives, and it doesn't seem like anyone else is involved.
Right.
They create their own anguish.
They create
their own
absolutely
worries and problems and anxieties. I wonder if they just don't have something attached to them. It's not necessarily physically malevolent, but mentally. Because I think mentally they can manipulate us and we don't realize, especially when we're asleep. I think that's really when they can manipulate us.
I agree, because I've felt that most of my life around when I've been around an abusive person or a person who seems extremely angry, has a lot of anger issues.
Yeah.
They always seem to be carrying this dark trail of something around them, and it's a lot of it's their personality that's attracting it, but then a lot of it is just because along the way they are they're bringing their energy has gone. Okay, let's face it. When you are depressed or you're angry, your energy, your auric energy goes down, way down. Your energy is way down, and that makes you more vulnerable than usual.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate to say it, a lot of very angry or very abusive people are also extremely sensitive people.
So that's when they would step in, attach itself to you, or...
And back to 1983, they didn't have a lot of grief counseling or counseling for... I don't think they did.
They had some. I mean, they had abuse and emotional abuse counseling, but...
Was that on the same level as today, or because
it was along the same lines? But now they have so many more layers, and they've figured a lot more things out.
Yeah.
But the basics of emotional abuse counseling did exist.
Yeah.
But
and he could have used that, I think.
Well, if he went back in prison and then it was gone. In other words, it sounds like this story happened very briefly. Like this stuff happened, but then that was it.
But when he came back, the inmates were scared of him because he was carrying something around with him that made him different than when he
probably
first
brought it back.
He brought it back
into the prison. And then it detached from him.
So
maybe it found someone else.
He brought it back after the funeral.
Yeah.
So.
Well, think about this. I mean, even when I was working in Alcatraz and I had EVPs of the knife and kill him, and you're going to get all kinds of bad energy and people who are aggressive and violent.
Well, you must have had to smudge yourself a lot when you went home.
Exactly. And I got stuff all the time, and people's like, "Oh, Alcatraz is so haunted." It might be. During the day when I wandered around, it was a couple of times.
Sure.
And at night it was even more so. But
I can imagine.
It's not like, there's giant demonic attachments on the island, but there's, inmates have their own baggage. They have their own emotional baggage, their own physical abuse. They've encountered that.
I wouldn't doubt if somebody could pick it up and bring it with them.
Yeah. So interesting enough, and I said this to someone else, some place like Alcatraz, which is a park now, gets visitors from all over the world, all walks of life, with all their own problems and baggage. Who's to say all those people don't bring their own attachments and they detach on the island?
That wouldn't surprise me, especially a place like that.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of leftover emotion. Yeah.
Yep. So any dark place like a prison, or an asylum or something that is open to the public to visit, a theme park, so to speak, you're opening yourself to picking up stuff. You're opening yourself to dropping stuff off.
Shoot, I've even walked into people's houses where they had a bad relationship with somebody and that person had issues, and the whole house had a weird atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm sure you pick up the vibe I got to get out of this house.
Oh, I have.
I just have to leave.
Definitely, yeah.
I always think of the Disney's hitchhiking ghosts with their little suitcases and their thumbs out.
Oh, yeah,
That's kind of what I mean. With Alcatraz, there's little hitchhiking ghosts going on.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, its story is interesting because it sounds like I said,
it's an interesting story.
But it was limited. It didn't happen over years and years. It was a very limited time frame.
And to say, I hope he's doing better now. I really do.
Yeah, I would be fascinated to just have him on the show and just talk and see
if he wants
really
to come on
happened.
The show and talk to us, I'd be open.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Because it's fascinating just to find what people go through and what their theories on.
I haven't heard it. I haven't heard about him being a guest on anybody's show or
maybe we should see if you can track him down.
Maybe.
Say, but I won't give you my home phone number. We'll call you.
Right, we'll call you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that was great. That was a good episode. Interesting theories and ideas come out of that one.
Yeah, very, very interesting, and especially where it relates to the subject of abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, we all, like I said, we all know troubled people. We just don't always know why.
Right.
Okay, folks, that's another episode of Ecto Portal. Check out our ectoportal.com. You can check out all our podcasts and come on TikTok, and you can hear all our stories there. And until next week, we'll say goodbye.
Bye.
Royalty-free, copyright-free music by Kevin MacLeod and Ross Bugden. Be sure to visit us at www.ectoportal.com. Check out our archives on YouTube and head on over for new episodes to ectoportal.podbean.com.